Mm. Here we go, just reusing some old bits of paper to prop you up properly. Hi guys! Sorry, with the travel sickness. I'm not joking when I say that, I get really travel sick. And this kind of screen movement would do my head in. Right, I think that's as good as we're going to get. I'm going to stop fiddling and get my stuff together. Oh, no. Oh no, folks, I'm so sorry. I've been having a nightmare this morning. Is there something wrong with my printer? Can't see the... Oh, look, there is. Oh, not again. Oh, look. Come experience the live joys of this lesson. Oh. Do I click you off, or do I just make you sit through this? Come on, watch me fix my printer. There you go. My printer has been disconnected from my computer for some reason. So we'll sort it out together, right? You click the little apple and then you go to printers and scanners. First thing you do is turn the printer off. Oh, so sorry. I just fixed this, right? So we have to right click on there. Hello 12 people watching me reset my printer system. I'm so sorry. We'll start in, I don't know what, 5. just put me on mute and you'll see when the screen looks nice again. Okay, so I think I have to click out of that again. I've turned my printer off. Now we go back to system preferences and back to printer. We press this little, and then it should find it, you see, but it's not. Turn it on again. Honestly, this is why I don't work for the BBC. Because you can't do this sort of thing on CBeebies. You can't be like, hi kids, welcome to the... Oh, wait a sec, sorry, the video's not working properly. Oh, sorry everyone, this programme will actually start in 8 minutes. There we go, look. Click on that. And then we wait for it to gather the printer information. And then we press add. There. That's good, isn't it? There you go. See, hashtag physics teacher. And now and the little picture of a printer is gone. Is that good or bad? Maybe I need to print it again. That's just going to be a massive spoiler. I suppose it's not. I'm printing pages 105 to 108. I'm a bit embarrassed about this because obviously this lesson is about how to reduce the amount of things like paper that we use. I do double-sided where possible, you know. It's just not always possible. Right. No, not two-sided. No, cancel. Oh, no. This is... This is the worst use of paper ever. God, there's more people here than there ever have been before. Is this what you people find entertaining? Not entertaining. Okay, do you know what? That's fine. That actually was a good way of reusing that piece of paper. Oh no. I'll just have to print out page Let's print out page 108 again. IT skills with Lara from Deirdre Science. This is exactly what it's like being in a secondary school classroom, by the way, if you've ever wondered. It's just people shouting, "Ah, the printer! Ah, I'm going to be late! Ah!" Right. Right, so we've got scrap paper, I've got 2 bowls, I've got a sieve, I've got a Muzz. Oh, I've got the new Theatre of Science mascot. Very exciting. Yep. I've got this now. Yes, got that. And we've got this. Phew, okay. Begging your pardon, folks. I'm sorry. No, look. I knew that was going to be a spoiler. You can watch this now. There. Now I'm going to do the usual ceremonial nose blow. And find a pair of scissors. I'll get started. It's okay, it's YouTube. I can edit all this out. Right. Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I like how this video's now had more likes than any of my other videos as well. Brilliant. You are nothing if not sympathetic, you lot. Okay, I'm going to flip you. Let's get started. Here's the little thing I need. Got my scissors. Fabulous. Right. Hello everybody. My name is Lara, you are the Science Alliance, and today it's the last materials lesson, right? We've done 5 lessons on materials, including this one. We've looked at plastic, metal, all the different words, paper. So today we're looking at reducing and reusing and recycling. What do these words mean? Why do they quite often get used wrong? So I think probably you just can't move today for people talking about these words, so we won't spend too long on it, but I will. It obviously wouldn't be a very good lesson if we didn't first of all say, what does reuse, reduce, recycle mean? So, reducing, here's my definition. Reducing means like buying less or using less energy. Reducing the amount of energy that people use or the amount of stuff that we use. So, my example here is going to be, imagine you're walking through the street, you really fancy a snack, you go into Marks and Sparks and buy one of their posh little yoghurty things, okay? How do you eat that yoghurt? Well, if you are into reducing, you might carry a metal spoon around with you at all times, so you don't have to take one of their little plastic spoons off the counter. That would be reducing. You're not touching a plastic spoon or anything else, you're just reducing by constantly using one spoon that you have with you. So that would be reducing. The same example, if we talk about reusing, would be, well, reusing means like using things again or making new things with them. So for example, you're in Marks and Sparks, you don't have a metal spoon with you at all times, so you have to take one of their little plastic spoons, but you were going to go to the beach that day and you were going to buy yourself a plastic spade. But now you've got the plastic spoon, you're like, oh, that's all right, I'll reuse this one. So you've taken a bit of plastic, but you're going to reuse it, you're not just chucking it away. So you've sort of reduced, I guess, by not buying the spade. See, they're all very connected. And the final one is recycling, which means reprocessing. That's like the keyword. Something to make it into something else. So if you like melt it or you mush it down or you cut it up, you have recycled it. So for example, you're not going to the beach, poor you. You have to take one of those plastic spoons, you eat your yogurt, you then clean it, put it in the recycling bin, it goes away, it gets melted down and turned into something else. So that's recycling. So we'll be looking at the difference between reduce, reuse, recycle, and like what the benefits are of all of them. The thing we're going to do is, I found this activity for recycling paper, okay? You tear up lots of little bits of scrap paper that you've got in your house, you add some water, you mush it up, and you make new paper. So, but my question to you is, because a lot of this lesson is going to be about brain exercise and how we question things and how we see things, is make your own recycled paper a good way to teach people about reduce, reuse, recycle. So I want you to imagine that you are planning a lesson about reducing, reusing and recycling. Okay, you're teaching a group of children. Someone said, oh, you could do the like recycling paper activity where you get to squish a paper, it's fun. Is it a good or bad, or do you need more information? Do you think it's a good idea? Should we do it? Is it going to help us learn about reduce, reuse, recycle? Can you please, in your heads, or better yet, write it down, because we'll come back to this at the end. Can you fill in these boxes just with one sentence? I think the most important one really is things you might need to know before you decide. So you've heard about a make your own recycled paper activity. Is it a good way to teach people about reducing, reusing, recycling? Can you write a sentence that says yes because, and one that says no because, and at least one thing? Imagine you're planning a lesson, like what are you going to search for on the internet before you decide to do this activity? There were a couple of things that I had to search for online before I decided that we would do it. So I'm going to give you a minute. I do want you to write those down, please, if you can, or at least if you don't like writing, like really formulate the sentences in your head. Know what your answers are so that we can come back to them later. Scrap paper. Another 20 seconds. Really, come on, rack your brains. What are you going to search for online to decide whether this is a good activity or not? What might put you off this activity? I was going to show you what the other people said in previous lessons, but I don't think I will actually. Oh, go on then, I will. Here we go. You ready for what the other people said? This isn't an exhaustive list. I've just done this lesson twice with comments, and this is what the people came up with. They said that yes, it would be a good way as long as they were using scrap paper. It would be good because it would be practical. It would help you learn, remember. It's a good example of recycling. It shows how recycling works, and it uses up old paper. They said no, but it wouldn't be good because maybe people don't have scrap paper at home, so they'd have to use new paper. That is obviously the opposite of reducing, isn't it? That's using new stuff. Jet said that it wasn't a good model because in reality they use chemicals when they recycle paper. We will not be doing that. Some people were saying there are better uses for scrap paper like art, or that paper is not the problem, recycling paper isn't really an issue. And things that people wanted to know before they decided. Did you get these? Does it use any energy? That was a good one. Will the new paper be reusable? What other materials will be used? And can the new paper be recycled? So well done if you got any of those, and indeed if you just exercised your brain and came up with other stuff. So I had these questions, and I don't want to be mean, because I did get some good information from this blog. But first of all, when I looked it up, it turns out you really need a blender. What's the problem with that? Well, you might not have a blender, and it makes a lot of noise, and you might break the blender by mashing up paper in it, but also blenders use electricity. And as we've looked at in previous lessons, electricity generally comes from burning fossil fuels. So is it good to do an activity to learn about how to recycle and help the planet if you're burning coal to do it? Maybe not. So I had to find an activity that was like it, but that didn't use a blender. And I did find one. And yeah, like I say, she's not the problem, the person writing this blog, but I have got some issues with the way that they've written it. So look, this is the blog where I got this activity. Very grateful because it's a great activity. But look, they just keep talking about how eco-friendly it is. It's really, and it's all like they're green, it's eco-friendly, all over it. And then you get to the sort of list of things that you need. And does any of those things strike you as a bit weird? A plastic netted piece. And then you click on it and you get to Amazon selling you some plastic. Look, right, what's the problem with that? Is it very eco-friendly to have to buy a big new sheet of plastic in order to do a recycling activity? Shout it with me. No, it's not, is it? No. So we're not going to... So that was a very good question. But is this eco-friendly activity actually going to help the environment? Well, certainly not if we all buy new bits of plastic. So we will do it without. But anyway, let's do it. We're just going to use a bowl, first of all, and some scrap paper, and tear up the scrap paper as small as you can into your bowl. Okay, so it's not going to be maybe the best recycled paper, but that doesn't matter. I'll tell you what at the end. Look, I got it looking like that with a bit of trimming. It's not bad. So let's tear off our scrap paper. While we're doing that, I want to ask you what seems like a really silly question, but super complicated answer really. Why do we reduce, reuse, recycle? Why is that important? Why is it important to reduce, reuse, recycle? Why? Why can't you just take one of those plastic spoons, eat a yoghurt, chuck the plastic spoon in the bin, and have someone make you a new plastic spoon for next time? Why is that bad? There are like 100 different answers, but I thought it was only fair that we thought about some of them. So you might be saying because reducing and recycling and reusing is good for the planet, or to help save the earth. That's a bit vague though, isn't it? What do we actually mean by that? You might be talking about pollution, but what do you mean by pollution? Why is pollution bad? I've given you a little, I'm not expecting you to remember all these, but I've given you some little prompts here. Why should we reduce, reuse, recycle? So for some clues, have a think about how do these things damage the environment? I'm there today, aren't I? Sorry. How do these things damage the environment? Landfill, so putting rubbish in the ground. Making stuff, like in a factory. Here's a little clue for you, this little vehicle. And mining. Maybe the crying rabbit was a bit heavy-handed, but mining is awful for the environment. Why? And there's so many more things I've missed out that you might say. I'll just give you the answers while you're tearing up paper. So this is a real photo of a landfill site in Australia. Look at, it's just so gross, isn't it? So first of all, landfill, the space is very precious. So if possible, we want to save space for other things that might need throwing away. This green was supposed to clue you into the fact that rotting rubbish does release dangerous gases. It actually releases methane, which is a greenhouse gas. That means it's making the earth heat up. You've probably heard of carbon dioxide. Methane is a lot worse. I think it's like 4 times, has 4 times more heating effect. Maybe more, I can't remember, but it's a very dangerous gas. Most, actually, landfill sites in Britain collect methane now and use it to produce electricity, which is obviously amazing, but we don't collect all of it. And also, I've added another one. It can pollute the water supply. So rain falls on the landfill, all the chemicals leach out and into the water supply. Dreadful. Also, a lot of people saying last lesson that obviously little bits of plastic can move from landfill into the oceans, and there's a big plastic in the ocean problem. Making stuff releases emissions, so carbon dioxide from vehicles and all manner of stuff they've got in the factory. And it also uses up fossil fuels. So you might have been shouting at me that your plastic spoon was made from oil originally that was got out of the ground. And it's good to save fossil fuels. Mining. If you dig a big hole in the ground, then you unearth, I don't know, maybe radioactive materials that get blown up into the air, causes a lot of air pollution. It obviously damages habitats. How could it not? It uses up the Earth's resources. So if you're mining for, say, copper, then there's less copper in the ground once you've mined it. It can pollute water supplies again, and it's also super expensive. So come back up here with me. Yeah, sorry, a bit of a downer beginning to the lesson. Have you got all your paper torn up? Maybe while we're just finishing up tearing, I can feel you asking me how many sheets you need. More than that, I'd say. Maybe like 4 or 5 sheets. Depends how big a piece you want to make. Anyway, I thought first of all I would tell you about a bit of the science behind recycling, why we recycle instead of throwing stuff away. So you can chill out and keep tearing up paper while I show you this next bit, okay? All this information is from Practical Action's website. Oh my goodness, they're absolutely amazing. Go to Practical Action's website and download every single resource they have on everything. They're brilliant. So I thought I should show you what their slides look like. I've sort of slightly reworked these slides for us because these are for slightly older people. So here we go. But this is all for the information that Practical Action gave me. How do we mine aluminium? I didn't know this. Fascinating. Right. we've talked a bit about aluminium in our metal lesson. So here it is, particles of aluminium. Earth's aluminium doesn't exist like this. It is bonded to oxygen, which makes aluminium oxide. And then aluminium oxide is mixed up in a rock called bauxite. How do we get aluminium out of the bauxite? I'm glad you asked. So the first thing you have to do is to crush the bauxite. Look at these effects. Crush the bauxite to get the aluminium oxide. And then you dissolve the aluminium, basically put it in a bath and run electricity through it. And that sort of gets rid of the oxygen and you're left with the aluminium. So that seems good, doesn't it? Very clever. What are the problems with that? Guys, it turns out for every 1 kilogram of, every 100 kilograms of bauxite you crush, you get 60 kilograms of this red mud. And the problem with red mud is, I'm laughing because I didn't know this, it's horribly toxic. You can't farm on it, you can't build on it. Lots of children in Africa and India where they dig this stuff out of the ground being told not to go and play in certain places because it's got very, very dangerous red mud on it. I should say that, apparently in China in particular, they dry it out, and I think about a third of the red mud gets turned into bricks, which is obviously a good solution, but not quite good enough solution at the moment. And the other problem is this thing with the electricity, it releases a lot of carbon dioxide, which is obviously a greenhouse gas, which makes the earth heat up. So altogether, making 1 kilogram of aluminium, that's not that much, is it? Like what, bag of sugar? If you're going to mine it out of the ground, you need 260 megajoules of energy. That's a lot. So recycling, very, very good, but obviously not a perfect solution as we have, oh sorry, that was mining. So this is why it's not cool to get stuff out of the ground. Right, have you finished tearing up your paper? What I'd like you to do is to pour a load of water onto it and make a mush. That'll do. I've been too busy talking to you and not busy enough tearing, but yeah. Let's pour some water on this now. You ready? There we go. And while I'm showing you this next bit, you can be mushing all this up, please. So let's look at recycling and why that's better. How you recycle aluminium instead of getting new stuff out of the ground. Well, you wash the cans and you separate them, and then a lorry collects the cans, and then the cans get shredded up and the paint removed. Now, obviously, that does use some carbon dioxide, you will have noticed, because the lorry has fuel that it burns, but it doesn't produce very much waste because the cans get heated up in a furnace and then they get melted and just poured into mould. So you're really not wasting anything, really. But there is some carbon dioxide produced. So making 1 kilogram of aluminium by recycling needs 15 megajoules of energy. That's including the lorry fuel. So there's a massive difference, eh? So that's why recycling is great. Oops, sorry, my chaotic office. So yeah, recycling, very good. Not perfect. Some things you can recycle, some things you can't. Are you mushing? I hope you're mushing. So we've looked at how polystyrene, like the sort of white packaging that's really light that you get with fridges and things, that is not good for to be recycled because you could fill a massive lorry full of polystyrene, burn loads of petrol driving that lorry to the recycling plant, and when you melted the polystyrene down, you would hardly have anything because the polystyrene was just air. So you end up using a lot of energy for not getting very much back. Whereas cans, obviously, it's amazing. I'll show you this this graph. Here we go. So this is the substances, and this is what percentage of energy you use compared to if you had to mine it. So if you recycle aluminium instead of mining it, you only use 5% of the energy that you would have done. Imagine that, you're saving like 95% of the energy you could use if you mined. Glass, it's a third, so not quite as good, but still good, and paper. And plastic, you're only using 10% of the energy you would have done if you'd made a new thing. So, yeah. So that's recycling. Let's talk about reusing, because we usually say that they go in order of recycling is okay, but reusing is much better. Now, I went to see a play about plastic in the oceans. Big turtle puppet, all about how plastic is bad, we should all reduce, reuse, recycle. And at the end of the play, my kids and I got to do a workshop. They were running a workshop teaching kids how to reuse. And my kids made something a bit like, this is just something that I lashed together yesterday to illustrate. They made something a bit like this. So in this workshop, They had some like foil sort of takeaway containers, and they had some googly eyes and some glitter pens and some sellotape, and the kids all like reused the junk around them to make new models. What's the problem with that? Because there are quite a few problems with that. To be perfectly honest with you, it made me quite angry. I might have had a little conversation with some of the actors afterwards. Now, this guy, in previous lessons that have comment streams, has been named by the Science Alliance. If you're a member of the Science Alliance, welcome. This is the first showing on YouTube of our new mascot, Forkish. Forkish and Wormy are good friends. They're going to work together, and I'm not allowed to throw this thing away, even though I made it to show you what a disaster some reusing workshops are. So welcome, Forkish. What is the problem with Forkish? Now, people in previous lessons have said that this robot, it has no use, which I thought was a bit harsh. Like, there's nothing wrong with junk modelling. Junk modelling is awesome. I had loads of fun making Forkish, and to be honest, I think that they look great, and they're giving me a lot of pleasure. So that's fine. I just don't think it's a very good way to teach reusing. What are the problems? Well, one of the problems, I can hear that you're saying it, is that it's very hard to recycle Forkish, right? Look, I've covered these forks in paint. So these forks can't just be put in the recycling bin now because they've been like contaminated. I would have to wash the paint off. I'd have to separate out all the plastic and the cardboard, which is a bit harder than it was before when the things were already separate. And a really big issue for me is it's got sellotape on it, which is made of plastic. Sellotape, this sellotape especially, is not recyclable. It's just a new plastic thing. That feather is made of plastic. Glitter is just teeny tiny little bits of plastic. Yes, I know that you can get biodegradable glitter. These people were not using recyclable glitter pens. So it's the opposite of reducing, isn't it? You've used more plastic, added more plastic to the world to try and teach children that you should reuse things, and you've ended up making something that cannot be recycled. So what do we actually mean by reusing? Well, while you're finishing mushing, well, you could just set your mush aside, right? Just put your mush to one side now and do this sheet for me. I've got 8 examples of reducing or reusing or recycling, and I want you first of all to tell me what you think they are. Some of them might be a bit of both. And then most importantly, just try and order them from 1 to 8, which one you think is doing the most good for the planet and which one you think is the least helpful. Not necessarily which one is the best idea. I want you to do the one, there might be a brilliant idea on here that would totally save the planet, but no one's doing it, which means that it's not that helpful. So this is just your opinion. I want you to just judge which one of these things you think is working, which one maybe isn't working. Put them in order. So here we go. Using cloth nappies instead of disposables. Is that reducing, reusing, or recycling, or maybe more than one of those? Making plastic bottles into tote bags. Buying a full wrapped chocolate bar instead of a Kinder Egg. Filling an old jar with rice at a refill shop instead of buying rice in a plastic bag. Filling a water bottle at a tap instead of buying a plastic bottle. Buying clothes from a charity shop instead of new. Making a cat toy by tying plastic bag to a fan. And an aluminium can being turned into a new can. So decide if they're reuse, reduce, recycle. The most important, and then rank them. Which one works very well at helping the planet and which one doesn't work. The most important bit to me, again, is number 3. For the ones you're unsure of, because you probably don't know, write down what questions you'd need to ask to help. Because when I'm planning this lesson, I ask the internet literally tens and tens, dozens, maybe hundreds of questions to find out what a good way to teach you is and whether I've got the whole truth. What questions might you need to ask the internet or me before you rank these properly, or to help you rank them? And I'm going to do it as well, because I've done it in previous lessons, but having talked about it now, I've got some comments. I might have changed my mind on a couple of them. If you're shouting at the screen about the cat toy, we're going to talk about the cat toy, yeah. But feel free to start with the one that you think is the least helpful, if that's easier. It's really hard, isn't it, actually? This is actually really difficult. Oh, the nappies one especially. Put that one before that one. Oh yeah, I think that one. All right, I think I've ordered them. I think so. Oh, it's a bit controversial though. Okay. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to stick with that and hope that you don't shout at me too much. Should we go through whether they reduce, reuse, recycle? And then we'll talk about some questions you might ask. So cloth nappies instead of disposables, I said that was mainly reducing, because you're reducing the amount of hideous, unbiodegradable, unrecyclable plastic nappies. Because if you use disposable nappies, you use a lot of them every day. It's also reusing the cloth nappy, but I'm a bit confused about this, because like every time you sit in a chair, you're reusing the chair, aren't you? But you wouldn't say it's reusing, because that's just what the chair is. Like the cloth nappy is a product that is designed to be reused. So I think it's mainly reducing. Making plastic bags into tote bags, from plastic bottles into tote bags, I've said that is recycling. You melt down the plastic bag, you make a bottle, you make it into something else. If you chose to buy a foil wrapped chocolate bar instead of a Kinder Egg, that would be reducing the amount of plastic in the world. Filling up an old jar with rice, that is reusing your old jar. It's also obviously reducing the amount of plastic packaging in the world. And the water bottle, I've said it's reducing plastic bottles, but you're obviously also reusing the water bottle, but obviously, because that's what it's there for. Buying clothes from a charity shop, I've put reducing with an exclamation, with a question mark, because it is reducing the amount of clothes that are made. But personally, I buy a lot more clothes from charity shops than I would if I was buying them new, if you see what I mean. So sort of reducing the amount of clothes that are being made because I'm reusing old ones, but I am aware that I'm consuming a lot of old. Anyway, it's complicated. Making a cat toy, reusing? I guess we need to talk about that. And an aluminium can be intended to, a new one is obviously recycling. Right, should we talk about, well, I guess let's talk about the questions. I'll do 2 and 3 at the same time. I'll show you what I've got, and then you can angrily write to me on Facebook if you're wrong. If you think I'm wrong, rather. Right, here we go. So at the bottom, please, we've got making a cat toy by tying a plastic bag to a fan. What that was sort of real, like, cool, hey, 21 ways that you can reuse. That's such an awful idea, isn't it? First of all, don't encourage cats to put their paws into, like, moving blades. I mean, I don't really like cats, but even I wouldn't do that. Second of all, as we've discussed, the fan is using electricity. So, and you're not even really reusing plastic. I mean, the cat could choke on the plastic bag. You're still going to have to get rid of that plastic bag, aren't you? It's not going to last very long. Just don't do that. And don't trust these ridiculous blogs when they tell you that they've got a brilliant way you can reuse something. Good grief. So yes, cat toy right at the bottom, ridiculous. Just someone trying to get hits on their website. Making plastic bottles into tote bags. Well, one of the questions you might have asked is, can things that are made from recycled products be recycled again? With this plastic tote bag, the answer is no. So aluminium can, you can just melt it down, make a new aluminium can. With like paper and plastic, you can't really do that. The stuff that you get when it's melted or crushed or whatever isn't quite as good as the brand new stuff. So you can melt down, for example, a plastic bottle and make something slightly less good, like a bag. You can't melt down a plastic bottle and make a new plastic bottle because the plastic sort of doesn't survive that process. Same with paper. You can't recycle paper into something quite as good quality as the brand new paper. So the plastic tote bag, the plastic bottle bag, can't be recycled again. You still got a bag made of plastic that you got to do something with. So I put that second, maybe it's a bit harsh. Buying clothes from a charity shop instead of from new. Yeah, like I say, the question I ask myself is, how many clothes would I buy if I was buying them new? The answer is, not actually that many. So I'm buying a lot more clothes from the charity shop because they're cheap and I know it's for charity. It's not like for every 10 clothes I buy from a charity shop, I haven't reduced the amount of new clothes I buy by that much. You see what I mean? Using cloth nappies instead of disposables. For me, it isn't really, I ended up using a lot of disposable nappies. I used some cloth ones, but not all of them. Some people very thoughtfully mentioned that you have to wash cloth nappies, which you do, which obviously does use energy and water, but still cloth nappies generally much better for the environment. Just, I found quite difficult to use, but that's a personal preference. Some people would stick them right up here and would be very good at them. Filling an old jar with rice. I've put it in the middle because I think it's a brilliant, genius, perfect idea. But I don't know about you, I don't do it as much as I should. Maybe you don't have a refill shop near you. You've got to remember to take the old jar with you. A lot of people, especially if you work hard and you've pushed for time, it's much easier to just go to a supermarket, isn't it, and buy everything there rather than going down your high street and refilling things. I mean, I love doing that and it's the right thing to do, but not everyone is doing it. It's not saving the planet, is it? Buying chocolate that isn't a Kinder Egg I find incredibly easy. I despise Kinder Eggs. Even when I was a child, I find the toy deeply disappointing and I think they should all be banned. We should do some sort of petition. Anyway, filling a water bottle. I think that's working really well because people love to sell people stuff and you can make beautiful reusable water bottles now and give them to your friends as presents or buy them from the Oxfam shop with Moomins on. I think this is a great idea and is something that people are actually doing. And controversially, because usually recycling is not the best one, I think aluminium cans being turned into new cans is something that the world is just doing very well. Who throws a can in a bin? You don't, do you? There's can recycling everywhere because it saves money and it saves energy. So everyone, the government, everyone is very happy to make it very easy to do it. Reusing a glass jar at a refill shop, that is not generally making, dare I say, the government or big businesses massive amounts of money, so it's not as popular. Right, we need to make this recycled paper, people, and you need to think about if you have questions for me, because there's a bit of a dark twist which you might have picked up on at the end of this lesson. I'm going to have to break something to you. Okay, some people found the sound of this bit very disturbing, so cover your ears now if you think that might be you. Put a sieve over your second bowl that you brought and pour your paper mush through the sieve. Ready? Thought that was all right. And now, give it a shake and get all the water out of it. Oh, this looks disgusting. Right, and now you need a baking tray and lie a tea towel out on a baking tray. If you're not squeamish about getting messy, give a little press and a squeeze. Ugh. Lie your old tea towel out on a baking tray and plop your mush onto the tea towel. And then fold the tea towel over the top. I'll tell you. I'm talking fast now. I'll do it with you. So baking tray, old muslin or tea towel, mush on the top. Squidge. A bit more of a squidge. Mine's going to be, pardon the pun, mine's going to be totally rubbish. Because I didn't even really do any squidging. The more you squidge, the better it will be. This is so weak. Look at this. Hopefully, I hope that you've got more and that it's thinner and that it's all beautifully spread out. I'm going to have to do, here's one I made earlier. But anyway, fold the tea towel over the top. And if you've got a rolling pin, that would be great. Spread it out as thinly as you can. Oh, it's all sort of clumped together, hasn't it? Maybe I should put some more water on it. Yeah, let's put a bit more water on. See if that works. Maybe if I get it wet again, then the fibres will kind of bond together. So someone was saying in the previous lesson that the reason that this is a good activity for a reduce, reuse, recycle lesson, oh yeah, that's better, isn't it? That's nice, is that this is actually quite a good model for how paper is recycled. So when you recycle paper, first of all, it gets sorted out, which you have probably already done, because hopefully you saw that I asked you, ideally not to use any glossy paper and not to use any very colourful paper. I'll explain why later, but hopefully you've sorted out into sort of fairly boring paper that you're using for this activity. Oh yeah, great. And then fold that over and give it a squish and squeeze all the paper out. Ugh. Right, you can picture the rest. I'll put you back up here. Yeah, the paper is sorted. And then it is indeed put into a big vat of water and churned about. I think then they do add some chemicals to sort of help bond it together more. And then the sort of pulp and the fibres is sprayed onto a screen. And it is pushed between rollers to make new recycled paper. There we go. So let's come back to some of the questions that people were asking about this activity. I will go to my Facebook page as well at the end of this lesson to see what other questions you were asking me. Here we go. So some of the questions people were asking, is this a good activity? I mean, it's super fun, isn't it? I don't know about you. I've had a lovely time. So yes, it is. And it is indeed a good example of recycling. Look at, maybe there is a better use like art, but I think this is quite artistic. Things you need to know. Does it use any energy? Well, our version of it hasn't done. What other materials will be used? Well, we haven't used any plastic sheets. Will the new paper be reusable? Can the new paper be recycled? Did you ask that? So you've made a beautiful piece of recycled paper. I'm just going to leave mine to dry now. Leave it to dry for as long as you can, yeah? And then when it's dried out, you should be able to just peel it off the tea towel. And if you trim it down, yeah, you can make it look quite pretty. Well done if you thought to ask, can this be recycled? What do you reckon the answer is? No, it can't. No, that's right. What we've just done with this activity to teach us all about recycling is we've taken paper that could perfectly well have been recycled into a new product and we've made something that cannot be recycled. That's what we've done. That's why we need to question everything in this world. Now, I had a lot of fun and I wouldn't have done this activity with you if it didn't turn out that this is biodegradable. So you could put it in a compost bin at home, you could put it in a compost bin out and about, or you could just like lift up a bit of soil by the side of the road and bury it, and eventually worms will eat this and turn it into worm poo and be very happy. So it's biodegradable. It's not like plastic. It won't end up in the oceans getting tangled up in a turtle or anything, but still, it's a bit annoying, isn't it? You can't recycle it. It turns out, you know, we did the textiles lesson last week and we looked at how paper is made of fibres. Even though to be recycled, you do put paper into water, if you do it too soon, then what we've done is just break up all the little fibres. So they're really, really short. So the final product is really like hard and tough and not very usable. So, sorry. Shock down ending to that activity. But I still want to see your photos because I think it's super cool. Okay, folks. Whew. It is time for the GCSE questions and the summary questions. Yes, it is. Yes. I will give you the GCSE questions and the summary questions, and then I might talk a little bit about McDonald's straws, because we've got time. Very quickly, if you are enjoying these lessons, then this is the last lesson of this block. I've got a week off for half term next week because I'm in York and it's York half term next week. And then after that, we're starting astronomy for I think 7 weeks, and then it's summer holidays. So if you're enjoying these lessons, you want to support me, it's such a cool business model. There's enough people watching that if everyone sends me 5 or 6 quid a month, this could totally be my job. 4 lessons a month, lesson a week, and a little show the Lego Storytime every week. So if you want to sign up, then you can go to my About section on YouTube somewhere. It says About, and there's a link to this website called Coffee. And I will send you Theatre of Science magazine to say thank you so much for making this the best job ever. So this one, I'll send you this one if you sign up now. It's about rainforests. It's got a mount your own bug activity. It's got a choose your own adventure story. It's got beautifully illustrated comic that my husband does about a famous insect expert who went into the rainforests to live with some cannibal tribes. And I'll also send you this issue, because this is the latest issue, on mould. I'll send you a biodegradable plastic bag. You can grow your own mould. Have some of you done that yet? There's another Choose Your Own Adventure and another beautiful comic about the only British female with a Nobel Prize in Science. Right, add ends. GCSE questions. Here we go. Here we are. So, tough question, this one. They've done that thing they often do where they've given you a little clue, a little piece of information. Fossil fuels must be burned to purify copper when it comes out the ground. Why is recycling copper better than mining it? So we haven't talked about copper, kind of on purpose, but why is recycling copper better than mining copper? You might be able to remember some ways that mining isn't good and recycling is better, and they have given you a clue here. You've got to burn fossil fuels if you mine copper. Why is burning fossil fuels bad? And number 2, which word describes waste materials being made into different products? Is it reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse, dispose? Summary questions. These are the ones I think you should be able to answer if you've been paying attention. Can you match the word to the description? So reduce, reuse, recycle. Which one means using a product to make something else with all or part of it? Which one means cutting down on the amount of energy or material used? And which one means reprocessing material and making something else? And can you give an example of each? Harder than you think, actually. And, haven't talked about McDonald's straws yet, but which of the following can't be easily recycled? Wet paper, aluminium, McDonald's straws. The answer could be more than one. Which of the following can't easily be recycled? "30 seconds. Ten. Okay, you ready? Have a look at question 1. If you've written the word pollution or air pollution, can you think of a better way of writing air pollution? Because it's GCSE, can you be a bit more specific? What gases could you name that are not good? Quick, cross out pollution. Write something else. Don't write good for the environment, bad for the environment. Right? Why? Okay, here we go. Fossil fuels must be burned to purify copper when it comes out of the ground. Why is recycling better than copper better than mining it? Well, a bit of an information dump here. There you go. Could have had any of these. Burning fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases. You could have said a particular greenhouse gas, like carbon dioxide is the best one, which causes global warming or which causes the Earth to heat up. Stores of copper will last longer. So if you're not getting copper out of the ground, it means there's more copper in the ground for later. Recycling uses less energy. Well, I don't know if you remembered that. Mining damages habitats. I think you could have probably also said that mining damages water supply. You could actually also have mining causes noise pollution, which it does. Which of these words describes waste materials being made into different products? That is recycling. So over here, reducing means cutting down on the amount of energy or material you use. Reusing means like using the product to make something else, and reprocessing was the clue for that one. Reprocessing, melting it down, mushing it up, a material and making something else. Give an example of each. Well, I've put reusing a metal water bottle. It's probably not a great example. Maybe I should have done the rice in the jar example. Not buying a Kinder Egg would be reducing, and recycling a can. Recycling. Which of the following can't easily be recycled? Wet paper, hopefully you got, and McDonald's straws are also not easily recyclable. I'm going to hold on the screen for 10 seconds to let you write down some answers, and then I'm going to tell you about McDonald's straws. Because again with the questioning. 5, 4, obviously it's YouTube, you can come back to this, can't you? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so final question for you. Question. In 2017, McDonald's used plastic straws. In the UK, everywhere else, they were huge, enormous, long things. People started asking McDonald's in 2017, like, do you think you could maybe not use plastic straws? To be perfectly honest, McDonald's, from what I gather, weren't very interested. And then in 2018, they stopped using plastic straws. Really quick announcement, and then a few months later, there were no McDonald's plastic straws in the UK. In the UK, they changed to paper straws. Why? What made McDonald's suddenly change from plastic straws to paper straws? Well, it's important this. It's important to end on this. What was it? Why? Well, you might be saying because they wanted to make a difference to the environment. What happened was, in like 2015, someone made a viral video, a scientist on a boat doing a project, made a viral video because they found a turtle entangled in a straw, and that video got shared like millions of times, and everyone became very aware of how plastic straws in the oceans were doing bad things to wildlife. And then a petition started up online, 500,000 people signed the petition, and then McDonald's sort of competitors or other very big companies started replacing their plastic straws with paper straws, and that's when McDonald's started also using paper straws. So I just wanted to sort of tell you that in the end. As it happens, McDonald's paper straws are not recyclable, and we sort of know why, don't we? Because they're constantly getting mushed up with lemonade and milkshakes. So yes, they're not recyclable. They are probably still much better for the environment than plastic straws though. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I think a lot of the time when we teach reduce, reuse, recycle, it makes it feel like everything that you do is, it's sort of all focused on like, how can you, one person, change your life in order to help the environment? But it's not just about the choices that you're making, like in the refill shop or with the reused milled appy. There's loads of other stuff you could do that makes a really big difference to get big companies who produce loads of waste and make a lot of money from it to make a difference. So you could be a scientist who made that viral video, you could share that viral video on social media, you could be the person who sets up the petition or who signs the petition, you could be the journalist who found out that McDonald's paper straws aren't recyclable. All kinds of amazing jobs and little things that you can do that make a massive difference. Just don't panic about. Obviously, it is very important to reduce, reuse and recycle where you can, but I don't want you to start feeling really stressed and like the whole world, it's down to you to save it. It's down to a lot of people to save it, and you can nag those people and really make a difference. So, for example, I was looking on McDonald's website because they've written a lot of stuff about how brilliant they are, but we need to just keep asking questions, right? Because at the bottom here, it turns out that only in, at the moment, only 25% of McDonald's restaurants will give people the option to recycle. So a lot of the time, if you're in a McDonald's, there isn't a recycling bin. And this is one of their goals. We will recycle guest packaging, that means like customer packaging, in 100% of McDonald's restaurants by the end of 2025. That's still quite a long way away. And let's just look at the wording of this. We will recycle guest packaging in 100% of McDonald's restaurants. Why am I just a little bit suspicious of that? They haven't said we'll recycle 100% of the packaging, have they? It just means that in all restaurants, there will be some recycling going on. There could just be one little bin for aluminium cans. We don't know. So just be aware of what people are telling you, okay? And make sure that you ask lots of questions. Okay, that is the end of the lesson. Like I say, no lesson next week because half term, and then the week after that we start astronomy. No show for 2 weeks, again because half term. But I've got all your requests on board, so I will be reading those and finding out what cute animal you want us all to learn about next. Okay, let's go to the comments and see if anyone has written anything. Although, oh, it has used energy, says Abby. So Abby apparently has used a lot of energy making recycled paper. That's a good point, Abby. Where are these comments? Did you manage to find the post? Oh, here we go. Wait. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, Abby sent me some brilliant answers. Making paper might be useful if you're going to actually use it, but it's unlikely because the chances are it's still going to get thrown away. Yes, exactly. Yes, you're right. It looks very beautiful. You could tie it up with a ribbon, but you're not actually, it doesn't really have any use, does it? Good point, Abby. Is it cost effective? Is it sustainable? It has used energy. I've worked hard, says Abby. That is excellent. Yes, you have worked hard. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't put up my usual post saying, please comment on this post. I will make sure that I do that next week. I'll just check that no one's commented on my little photo of Forkish and used that instead. Oh, there are some comments. Oh, my 3-year-old sent you some pictures of food and got 8 likes. That's nice. And a lot of people are just mocking me for shopping at Waitrose. Rowena, I hope you found me. Oh no. Oh no, Rowena. There was quite a lot of printer faffing. I hope you're there, Rowena. Maybe Suki and Arza and Eunice are here. Hi, if you are. Maybe Grace and Rose are here. Hello. Excellent food choices. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's nice. Oh, my 3-year-old is getting more more comments than I am. All right, you lot. Thanks so much for coming. I'll see you soon. Bye. I'll go and show her your lovely comments.